Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644. Here are your hosts, Brian Higgins and Eric Dungy.
Oh, just Brian Higgins with you tonight. Whoa! We got some things to discuss after that one. Oh my goodness, we got some things to discuss after that one tonight. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. 26-24 Stanford takes out Syracuse. We'll get Fran Brown's press conference when it becomes available to us down the line. That'll be live. He's been taking about half an hour. We'll see how long he takes. After that one, that's a gut punch loss. Stanford's not good. They played, spunky. I don't know what you'd call it tonight. They were something tonight. They gave it a little something, but Syracuse, it feels like they gave it away. You go down to the essentially second to last play of the game, one-on-one coverage with Stanford's without question best player on a 4th and 9, and here we are. Syracuse falls to a 2-1 first loss of the Fran Brown era. And, man, there are a lot of plays to go back and pick on. Penalties galore during the game. The amount of holdings called on both teams in the game. You thought the holding on Stanford on the last drive was going to be the one that cost them the game. And they come back and make two nice plays to get the first down and set up field goal range to be able to take advantage and win the game. It's, this one's a tough one. This one is a tough one because it looked like once you beat Georgia Tech, Stanford was always on the list coming into this season of the 4 easiest games. It was probably the hardest of the 4 easiest games, but it was always on the list of the games you should win. Stanford preseason picked to finish last in the league, their first ever ACC game. They've flown cross country, and they end up dictating most of the game. Kyle McCord rallies them late after a couple of costly interceptions, one his fault, one not. Throws what could have been the game-winning touchdown pass to Jackson Meeks with a little more than 3 minutes to go. And then the Orange allow a 4th and 9 in the final 30 seconds to give up what was a 39-yard game-winning field goal for Stanford. Phone lines are open. I imagine people have thoughts. 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44 or DWI.com hotline here on Postgame. We'll take your calls throughout. We will have the full postgame press conference of Fran Brown whenever it begins. We'll keep you hanging loose and staying apprised of that. But, man, this is one that it felt like you were giving it away in many reasons. On offense, for sure, the offensive line did not cover itself in glory today. McCord was sacked 4 times all in the first half, which kind of short-circuited, save for the one play to Hatcher, the entire first half of the game. Kyle does end up throwing for 339 yards with 2 touchdowns, the 2 interceptions, the one that's on the back of Villari and the one that I'm not entirely certain what McCord was doing, a little wheel route up the sideline that was really never open. But Syracuse could not run the ball today, just 26 yards on the ground on 17 carries. Stanford got most of their damage done on the ground with 173 yards. And, yeah, that's where you're at. Nothing at all from Rondé Gadsden. The peculiar penalty on special teams, targeted just 5 times, only 1 in the second half, ends up with 2 catches and 12 yards. All told, it was just a peculiar game from the get-go. That was just a peculiar game, essentially from drive 1. I mean, the Orange punted on, what was it, their first 3 possessions of the game? Hang on. Drive chart over here. Reaching. Punted their first 3 possessions of the game. Their first half drives were punt, a Denneberg field goal, punt, and then the Hatcher defender fell down, kind of because of Umari. I'll give him credit for that. It wasn't just he slipped and fell, but Hatcher on the 67-yard touchdown and the nice throw by McCord. And then the second half was just what was happening all over the place. You open with a punt on a third-quarter drive. You score on the Hatcher drive. You cut it to 3. You feel like you have a chance to change the game. You come out and 4 plays and punt to open the half. Then the second drive, you have the holding call on Gadsden that reels back in the Hatcher 45-yard gain. Realistically, watching the replay, the holding probably allowed the gain to happen in the first place. And then third down, Dan Villari does not read the coverage the same way that Kyle McCord did, never turned around, leading immediately to the Mitch Lightyear pick 6 for Stanford that put him up by 10. Then you come right back. Kyle McCord has that ridiculous touchdown run. He was channeling Eric Dungy karate kicking and diving through the air to cut it to 2017. And literally the next drive, play 1, McCord throws the inexplicable interception, and then a couple drives later, he leads a great drive down the field for what could have been the game-winning touchdown, and then the defense surrenders the field goal at the end. There was, it is a hard one to wrap your brain around, one that Syracuse was favored by more than a touchdown and never really felt like they could get their mitts around it here today. All right, as mentioned, phone lines are open, 315-437-7644. Get as many calls in as we can before the Fran Brown press conference begins, and we will start with Dave in the queues. Hey, Dave, what's up?
Hey, guys, what a tough loss it was tonight, but I just want to say that this team's going to be fun to watch, win or lose, because last year's team, my TV would have been off. I had already been in bed. I mean, and I sat up for the whole game. I mean, I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but you know what? Get back to the drawing board and get a W next week and then keep going. I mean, like I said, it was fun to watch. I mean, last year, like I said, I wouldn't have watched the whole game. It would have been off.
Yeah, I'd say, Dave, that was heart attack inducing, good, bad, and otherwise. It was. It wasn't always entertaining, right, for the best reasons, but I guess it kept you glued to the TV tonight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Dave. Well, hopefully, the entertainment leads to some wins down the line, but it certainly was fascinating, Dave. Thanks, as always, for the call. But, yeah, I'd say we were all, I mean, that was an edge-of-your-seat kind of game. Not always for the best of reasons, but, man, it really kept you, it really kept you, I don't know. It kept you guessing. It kept you looking. It kept you thinking in a whole lot of ways tonight. All right, let's keep it moving on the phones tonight. Who do we have? We have Mikey in Los Angeles. Ooh, we're going coast to coast. Mikey, what's going on tonight?
I do not understand why we're leaving Io Manor one-on-one with the game on the line. You know they're going. Everyone across the country knew that they were going to him, and we leave him one-on-one. I just don't get it.
I'm with you, Mikey. You know, I will give Clarence Lewis credit. Io Manor made that great touchdown catch in the first half. They kind of stuck Lewis to him the rest of the game. For the most part, he did a great job. But I think on that last play, it's 4th and 9. Like, where else are they going with the ball? And if you force them to go somewhere else and they get it, like, good for them, right? Like, you got to shut that guy down.
Exactly. He looked at him the entire play. Everybody knew it was going to him. It was just disappointing. It felt like a classic Syracuse loss, and the bye-week curse continues, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I think, put somebody else over. Now, maybe that opens somebody else up. That's one right. If somebody else beats you, not that you live with it, but it's almost like you'd rather swallow that pill than getting beat by their best guy in one-on-one coverage at that point.
Hey, I agree.
All right, Mikey, appreciate the call, and I think that's it'll be interesting to hear what Fran Brown has to say about that after the game. We'll bring you his full press conference when it starts sometime, I would imagine, in the next 15 minutes or so. But phone lines are open. Keep the calls coming, 315-437-7644. And I'll say that, like, do I blame Clarence Lewis on that play? Like, he covered him decently enough, back shoulder. That's a really tough play for a cornerback. It's a really tough play for a cornerback against an NFL wide receiver, which is why you shouldn't have to do it all by yourself. Like, that's why you shouldn't have to do it all by yourself. And then, man, just the flags. It's just the whole game just felt disjointed from the jump. There were so many penalties and all these things. It was a very, very disjointed, herky-jerky kind of game. Hard to wrap your brain around. And one that, man, that is a momentum killer for the season, right? Not a season killer. No. I think we've said it now for 9 months. First-year head coach, you don't know what you're going to get, right? And we got a lot of the good stuff in the first 2 weeks. We got some bad stuff in week 2, right? Special teams, all that, almost blew the game, but they won. They pulled it out. It allows you to forget it, at least as a fan watching the game. Tonight, okay, you drop a game that you shouldn't have dropped. Holy Cross next week, but can you somehow, now can you go get UNLV or NC State? Like, how are you feeling? Where's the vibes? The vibes have been nothing but positive up till this point. Not just for 2 weeks, but I mean for like 9 months, for 10 months. Now, actual adversity, a game that you're going to think we should have won the game, or we certainly really could have won the game, and it got away. Tough one. Tough one tonight for the Yards. All right, let's get a quick break out of the way just to be a little limber for when Fran Brown's going to get his press conference going. But the phone lines are open when we come back. Get to Q Sports Talk. Get in the chat. We're going to be with you till midnight, past midnight. We'll see how the night goes. We'll see how the night goes tonight. But phone lines available, 315-437-7644. Give a ring. We'll get you on. Fran Brown press conference and much, much more. Stanford, walk-off field goal. 26-24 in the Dome. One gets away from the Cuse here tonight on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Oh, man. A lot of coin flip games, JPP. Not good, Devin. Not good. And yeah, I don't know if Paulie has already shaved the stash. No word if he is shaving in the Dome right now. I don't know if he brought the razors with him. Man. Yeah, Kyle, I mean, the one pass was bad. His second interception was on him. The rest of it, he was under siege, especially in the first half. Sounded loud on TV, Zach. Oh, man. Yeah, I think Gadsden also, he had to help out blocking a lot today because the line was getting bludgeoned. What do you mean Fran decided not to take a time? They didn't have enough timeouts to get the ball back. Like, they could have just kneeled it and waited. Like, there was nothing. There was no way to get the ball back. Yeah, Dan, you may have a point on that one. This is all Steve's fault. But, man, you lose one of the four that felt like, I'm going to say automatic wins, but oh, man, like, it's one with the first half. Like, McCorder's just under siege. I mean, he got sacked 4 times in the first half. They just couldn't get anything going. Well, Mike, that's where you need to change. Maybe we all need to take up the Adam Terry point of view that 6-6 could be considered successful. Huh? Oh, man, I just say, like, hey, you got a first-year head coach and a young staff and the whole thing. Like, stuff like this is bound to happen. You just wish it didn't happen against freaking Stanford. Oh, yeah, you're right, Casey fan, they moved the pocket a lot. They were moving Kyle early in the second half, and McCorder's making nice throws in those scenarios. Yeah, that was all the sack yardage, Devin. Of course not, Mike. But all right, you got Holy Cross and UConn that you got to win. Then you got a bunch of coin flip games that you don't feel as good about as you did this morning. Yeah, more zone. I didn't need zone. I just needed a safety roll to that side of the field to make him throw the ball somewhere else. Just roll the freaking safety over there. Instead, he was deep in the middle. Yeah, Symir Torrance. He would have fixed it. Maybe Syer Torrance. Any of the Torrances. Oh, it's a bad loss. You're right, Florida guy. There's no way to spin it as a good loss. Oh, man. That said, like, Syracuse didn't play well today. You figured they will play better on other days.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
There is the phone number. Brian Higgins with you here tonight. Phone lines are open. We're still trying to figure out the Fran Brown pace to the podium this year. He's been about, we're clocking him around like 25, 30 minutes. 25, 30 minutes to the podium in his first two games. I don't know how a loss is going to affect things. Sometimes that speeds up the proceedings. Sometimes it slows it down. I got no idea. So we're gonna try to keep this as nimble as we can. But certainly time for a call before our next commercial before we try to set things up to catch Fran on the flip side of that at 315-437-7644. This one hurts for a lot of reasons because, okay, was Syracuse really going to go 10-2 and go to the playoffs and all this stuff? Oh, okay, I realize there's a pipe dream where maybe that could have happened. But when you lose to one of the teams on your schedule like this, where it should have been your easiest conference game, for sure, when you look at Stanford was picked preseason to finish last in the league, when you look at what they've done the last few years, I like their coach, Troy Taylor. Like I really like, you could tell he was their play caller also on offense. They had a lot of shots on the sideline. He had the little glasses perched on his nose making the play calls. I really liked what he was doing calling the game today. You can sense he really knows what he's doing. But it's a rare conference game, right, where like the talent advantage in theory is on Syracuse's side. Then this is a Stanford team that has had significant line of scrimmage issues, both sides of the ball of late. And Syracuse, both on offense and on defense today, got dominated at the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line got dominated and their defensive line got dominated. And more so than anything, more so than the penalties, more so than the McCord interception, more so than the coverage on the last play of the game, the line of scrimmage decided this game today on both sides of the ball. Syracuse could not run the ball at all. 26 yards today. All right, let's take out the sack yardage. There's 27 sack yards. Let's remove that. Syracuse ran the ball on running plays for 50 yards today. That's nothing. I realize they've been a pass-forward team this year, and that's fine, and that's what I'd do if you had Kyle McCord, but they ran the ball for 50-some-odd yards today. Take out the sack yardage, you're at 26 yards. And out of the 50, 40%-ish of your rushing yards today were the one longest run of the career of Kyle McCord. Spectacular play, really fun play, not something that you can count on. And then the defense, you gave up 173 yards on the ground, more than 5 a carry when, like, you knew it was coming. Ashton Daniels, 13 carries, a lot of them early. Justin Lamson got that fourth down conversion. Go figure. It's a tough one. This is a tough one today. When you lose at the line of scrimmage, you're more likely and not going to lose the game. When you look at Stanford, not this year, not last year, but go back 5 years. Go back from like 2008, 2009. Basically, go back to when Harbaugh got there through the middle of David Shaw. There was a decade where losing to Stanford at the line of scrimmage was why you lost to Stanford. They were fantastic at the line of scrimmage, and that's why they won 10 games multiple times. Christian McCaffrey, Toby Gerhardt, Andrew Luck, offensive lines, defensive lines. They had some dudes. They don't have that now. They've lost their offensive line through the transfer portal. They took their starters after week 1 and literally switched everybody's position on the offensive line before week 2. That's how out of sorts they were on the offensive line. And Syracuse got controlled by that group tonight and their own offensive line, which we talked about all offseason, and which realistically, 2 games in, it performed admirably. We had talked about them very little, which is a very good sign. Got absolutely controlled tonight by Stanford's defensive line. McCord getting sacked 4 times, and Syracuse, all told, They ran the ball for 1.5 yards per carry tonight. LaQuinn Allen, no holes, 3 yards a carry. Yassine Willis, 2.3 yards per carry. I'll be very interested to see what Fran Brown has to say about the absences tonight of Will Nixon, Zeed Haynes, and Tank Wilson. That kind of came out of the blue right before the game today. So, yeah, line of scrimmage game, right? That hasn't changed ever in the history of football. Syracuse got dominated on both lines of scrimmage, and that'll cost you the ball game tonight. McCord's passing numbers end up looking fine, save for the interceptions. 339, complete 64% of his passes. The first interception, not his fault. The second definitely was. This is one of those things where this is going to be a hard one to swallow here tonight. This is going to be a hard one to swallow here tonight. All right, let's get our second break in to make sure we're back in time for the Fran Brown press conference. Then we'll hang loose till he starts. Maybe time to sneak in a call as well before it starts at 315-437-7644. Back after this, Fran Brown shortly here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This.
Yeah. Different kind of ranking, right? I need to turn off my phone's Do Not Disturb so I know when Jordan is texting me that Fran Brown will be available. Jordan likes to send frantic Fran Brown texts. Not really, alphabet guy. There was a lot of them. I mean, they were calling it tight, but they called it evenly. Like, could they have not thrown maybe half of them? Probably, but I wouldn't say. I'd say they were consistent with it, which is, whatever. Like, a lot of people were mad at the Gadsden one. I mean, he had a hold of the guy. Jordan is there valiantly filming for us, Devin. Yeah, this is a bad loss. This is a really bad loss. The roughing the passer call, some people are saying he hit him in the head. It was, I don't know. It was very light contact. That one bothered me. I only saw the one really quick replay, though. I would have liked another replay of it. This Illinois-Nebraska game looks pretty good, huh? The holding calls, I'd say, I think there was a lot of holding in the game. It was two not great offensive lines that were trying to figure their way through life. Yeah, 11-1, Sully voice. There we go. Optimism. I don't mind Gadsden on special teams. A lot of times you play your starters on special teams. The NFL likes to see that. Like Zaire Franklin always was on special teams. But I don't know what he thought he saw in that play because Arande is not a stupid player. That was a terrible penalty. He clearly thought the guy wasn't down. I just don't know why. Like nobody else was still playing, and he just clocked him. It was like the least Arande. I don't know. Did like that take him out of his vibe? Was it because he had to help blocking a lot of the game? I don't know. Oh, man. Not good. Oh, what's up, TJ? Yeah, the whole thing fell off, Ryan, did it not? I mean, the whole thing just felt off from the jump. Yeah, that's true, big dog. But I'd say, like, if Arande also wasn't holding that guy, he was going to take McCord's head off before he threw the pass. Like, I think it directly led him to be able to get the pass off. We'd be having slightly fewer negative comments, M. Hamilton, because we'd be happy they won. And also, if they won by 2, that last play of giving up the first down to their best receiver probably wouldn't have happened.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, you heard the number. Give a ring. We're going to keep it here. Time for a call. We're going to hang it loose here till Fran Brown gets up to the podium, and we'll bring you his full press conference in its entirety coming up. And that is right now. To the podium, here's Fran Brown.
Really on coach, myself as the coach, there's some things that I can do to help our players out, not just in the game, but also through the week.
We're going to start in the front row with Emily, and then second to Dan right here on the side.
Fran, can you just talk us through that final play call decision on the 4th and 9 and leaving Lewis out there in one-on-one in that coverage there?
Yeah, we felt as though Lewis could make a play. Actually, if you look at before we called timeout, they had Io Manor to the field one-on-one with Bellamy. Had to try to put some pressure on the quarterback. So when we called timeout, felt more better with Lewis being over there, being able to cover him. I mean, we feel as though Lewis is a good football player. He can make those plays. Just a back shoulder, good ball, perfect thrown pass. So, I still got to watch it on tape again. Kid made a play. We didn't make a play.
We've talked before about needing to learn how your team responds in adversity, and certainly faced adversity today. What did you think about their response overall?
I think we could continue to get better, starting with the head football coach. But I think we can all continue to get better from adversity. I think everyone will always get better from adversity the rest of our lives. But we can always get better. I think they responded well on the defense side of the ball, and the offense also at certain times they responded. So they'll start to get it. It'll be good. It's part of the game, though. It's a part of it when you're building and things are going that way. So I'm confident that this will be a learning stepping stone for us.
Yeah.
Fran, this has been a game, obviously it was a game of turnovers back and forth for both teams. Just what you could say about, coming off of a game like that comes down to the last 3 seconds and the extra opportunities and capitalizing on their side. I know you guys got 3 points off of turnovers in the game as well early on. Just what you could say about the turnover game.
I thought they did a better job, though. I mean, they scored off of one of theirs, so that helps out. It's a part of the game, and depending where you get them at, big plays, certain times of the game, the momentum, monotony of football, it's going to happen, and when it happens, but I felt like we all responded. Nobody had their heads down coming off the sideline, things of that nature, so I felt as though we're learning from it. Some of the time we can put them in better situations when they are, when some of those penalties are coming. I think that those guys just kind of outcoached us today. Player-wise, pretty good game. We kind of got outcoached a little bit.
Stay right in front with Brett.
Fran, we heard that Z wasn't here today due to a personal matter, but I wanted to ask you about Tank, Ross, and Nixon. Were these injuries that took place in practice in the bye week, or what's their physical status?
So Tanks was before that didn't happen. Z has a personal family issue that he has to handle and needs to handle, which I don't want to speak about that anymore. And Justice Ross, it was just 2 days ago. So in practice this week. Emmanuel Ross, that's what I meant, sorry. Emmanuel Ross was just 2 days ago in practice, so they were all practice this week.
Nixon as well?
Well, that was been going on for a week or two. He's had a quad contusion, just trying to play through it. So had a quad, deep bruise in his quad.
And can you give us an update on Marcellus Barnes, who was injured tonight?
He was just hurt. I think it was bad back spasms, something of that nature. So he wasn't able to move. I think tightened up on him real quick. So, but they said the X-rays were negative, which is good. So, hopefully all that stuff loosens up and he'll be able to come back soon.
Christian on the end.
Fran, Trevor had another good game today, leading your team in catches and yards. Why does Kyle have so much trust in him right now? It feels like anytime he throws the ball to Trevor, it ends up in a catch.
I think they watch a lot of film together, do a lot of things, but Trevor's just putting the work in. He's taking football when he leaves practice. He's also thinking and living football all day long. A lot of guys don't do that, and he's doing that all day long. So, it's paying off. You work hard, you get paid for working.
We're going back to Mario and then back up front to Mark.
Hi, Fran. What was Stanford doing to stop the run, and did you think you had to rely on your pass more because of it?
Nah, I felt like they had about 50 people at the D-line. They just was flying. They was stunting. They were moving. It was show 5, bring 6. They would show 6, drop them back. Just different things, running different stunts. And, those guys just really fought well today. I thought the defensive coordinator and the D-line coach, they did a real good job.
On the flip side, things they did to limit Rondé tonight?
It was doubled him a lot. Of course, Rondé's going to be doubled a lot. Different times he was doubled, and there was times he was open, but there was some pressure at him, and they couldn't be able to see him. So it's part of football,
Hey, Coach, how do you evaluate Kyle's performance tonight, and what did you think of his Josh Allen leap into the end zone?
I'm pretty sure he wants to play better. We all want him to play better. He wants to. But I thought it was well. He drove down, was able to go score, and we got to come back and be able to stop him. He played good football. You know how a football game is. Every game is not about to be 500 yards of passing. It's just different things that happen. What I liked there was that when adversity hit, it didn't, stun him. He just came back and he just responded and he went downfield and was able to drive us down and get us an opportunity to go win the football game. So, he done what every other good quarterback would do. And did he throw some passes to the other team? Yeah. That happens. It's football. But I feel good about what he done. Especially towards the end, he gave us a chance to win. That's all you can really ask for a kid to give us an opportunity to win. I was happy because he ran. I like to see Kyle run, so it was a good deal for him to run, and it was inspiring to our football team, and you see everyone was lifted. So, yeah, it was pretty good. It's a good run. It was a nice run.
Justin.
Coach, I'm wondering what you saw from Alec Iomander just throughout the night, and especially on that one-handed touchdown catch in the first quarter.
Yeah, that good. I forgot about that one. That was a good catch. He was a good player. He made a lot of plays last year. It was. He made a great catch on 4th and 9, right? So I'm just happy for that kid. Happy he got a chance to do it. He hasn't been playing football for a long, long time and been able to come in and just start to do these things. So I'm very happy for that kid, and I wish him nothing but the best, that he continues to do well. He's a good football player, and he came out here and done a great job.
Coach, with no Will Nixon in the lineup tonight, how much did you feel that changed the game plan, if at all, and affected your guys' run game tonight?
We still had another running back. I just felt like they did well on defense. I don't think not having Will Nixon affected our running game.
Take a few more. We'll start right in front of that one.
I noticed Devin Grant was playing in at safety, which is obviously where he played at Buffalo a little bit, or at least playing more inside. Was that a result of just personnel with Barnes going down, or just you wanted him on the field? Good player, good guy to have out there?
No, he plays nickel now. I don't know if you noticed, but Justin Barron's a linebacker. So we moved Justin Barron into linebacker, and the next best guy to make sure we can have everyone on the field. He was a starting corner, but now we moved him inside the nickel because he was a safety, and just want to take advantage and try to get as many good athletes on the field, especially since you don't have Marlo Wax right now. We tried to go and be a little bit more athletic when it came to the linebacker position.
Last two, we're going to start with Dan.
Fran, obviously a man of faith and somebody who's been through adversity on and off the field. What do you lean on in a moment like this to learn, to grow, and to advance as a leader for this team?
I'm going to just continue to pray and just show them how to be men. I got this little thing right here. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible. So I'm going to just continue to follow my faith, continue to follow Dart, just be there for my family. I'm going to still live the same way. We lost to a good football team tonight. That coach, as I said, did a good job. I'm not about to change up anything due to the fact of us not having a win tonight. So, but we're going to learn from this. I think our players will learn from it. They were hurt, and I don't want to see them hurt. So I'm going to make sure that I do as much as possible so they don't have to have that feeling so much on the weekend.
Last one, if anybody's got it. Good? Okay.
You got it.
Coach, I was just game press conference. Was somebody asking another question? That was like that had a weird little end there. Fran Brown's postgame press conference brought to you by William Mattard. Call William Mattard 444-4444. First losing postgame press conference for Fran. A little bit briefer, about 10 minutes than the ones he had been doing after wins, which were stretching 15 or 20 or so. Which, whatever, that's just kind of what it was. So that no more questions there at the end. Kind of petered out. Open with the injury information, for sure. Fran Brown's still talking. Like, what? That was the press conference over or not? Fran Brown's talking again. I don't know what the heck's going on.
To be good and for who we are, you got to be able to do both. You can't be one dimensional. You got to be able to do both.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right, now the press conference is over. What are we doing? Can't guard 4th and 9. When's the press conference over? Anyway. So, Will Nixon hurt. Tank Wilson, I don't know if he really said what was going on with Tank Wilson. That was vague. Zede Haynes got something going on with his family that he's got to take care of. So it's amazing how we went through about 2 weeks with not a lot of roster things other than Marlowe, and then a lot of stuff hit tonight. Interesting for him to know that Justin Barron was playing more linebacker tonight as the game went along, which... All right, we talk about, how well Stanford ran the ball. The Orange is not a lot of beef on the field right now when you're playing a 4-2-5 to begin with, and now one of your linebackers is a safety. So you're essentially playing, I get he's playing linebacker. You're playing with 6 defensive backs out there. There was a lot of extra yards given up on running plays tonight after first contact. That's for sure. So, something to keep an eye on. Justin Barron has been the green dot communicator since Wax went out. So, something to keep an eye on. 2 very different approaches on the way to handle defense, right, in the 2 games without Wax. We saw Fadil Diggs, a defensive lineman, sort of playing middle linebacker last game against Georgia Tech without Wax. This game, you see Justin Barron, who is a safety, kind of handling that role. So there is that. Sounds like we got Kyle McCord's post-game press conferences going on right now. Let's bring that up here for a little bit before we go to break. Let's get a little Kyle McCord after the game going on right now before we hit our next time out here on the post-game show.
Had a little bit of a miscommunication with Dan. 3rd down, they brought a blitz. It's nothing that he did wrong. It was more so on me kind of being impatient. I was thinking that he was just going to turn around a few yards before he did. I mean, like you said, it was a miscommunication, but I take fault on that. I can't throw it if he's not looking yet. And then the second one was just dumb. Like, I didn't have to force that to Meeks, especially first down, first play of the drive. Should have just thrown it to LeQuint in the flat, make 5-6 yards. But shouldn't have forced that one.
Aronde's been double-teamed in pretty much every game he's played over the past few seasons here, but today it seemed as though there was a little bit of extra attention on him even compared to that. What did you see in terms of the coverage that Getson faced?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a great player, and they did a good job of trying to take him away. I feel like pretty much every time I went to go look for him or throw him the ball, he was, in some way, shape, or form being doubled. But, it opened up other guys, and I think other guys made plays because of their one-on-one matchups, but it's tough. And I have to do a better job of getting him the ball. I think regardless of the coverage, we have to figure out how to get the ball in his hands because obviously when, you don't, the offense struggles a little bit.
I looked like there were a few more plays in the first couple games where maybe you threw it and you were expecting the guy to break off a little sooner. How much of that was like the pass rush, and how much more did you feel that than the previous couple?
Yeah. I feel like today, more than anything, we were stopping ourselves just with, dumb mistakes that, wasn't necessarily anything they were doing. It was just things that we were doing. And, it's uncharacteristic of us, but I think ultimately that, showed its face a little too much today. And I think that, think that when, you're, misfiring and, I'm not necessarily on the same page as the receivers or, the protection isn't great, like whatever it is, we obviously have to get it fixed because it wasn't good enough.
Fran spoke about the fact of trying to get the running game going and that you can't be a successful team if you're going to be one-dimensional and have to be balanced. Just what you can say from your perspective as the leader of the offense, trying to get that going moving forward and trying to create that balance.
Yeah, I think that if we can be a little more balanced, I think it would open up really both areas. If we're able to run the ball, I think we're able to pass the ball better. I think that's just, you look at all the great offenses, they're able to do both. And so I think that's, a level we're still working to get to. I think, there's certain things in the run game that I could have done better. Like, if, we had a RPO, could have spit it instead of, hand it off and have a negative play, just things like that. And I don't think it's one person in particular with, why we really weren't able to get the run game going today. But obviously it wasn't good enough. I think we only ran for, 20-something yards. So, it's not ideal.
Brent said it came down to physicality. How would you assess what this game came down to?
I think that's an accurate statement. They played hard. We knew that coming in, that they were going to play hard on film, watching them. And I feel like, like I was just talking about it, we didn't necessarily run the ball that well. And I mean, they're physical on the perimeter too. And, we had some plays where, I felt like, I could have thrown it a little better, but, you just have to kind of fight through some of those contact, physical routes. But I think that's an accurate statement.
Well, we're joined by Devin as well, so we'll direct any questions you want towards him. We're going to start right there in the third as well.
Kyle, you had a pretty good rushing touchdown. The offense was struggling running the ball. Is there more room in your game to run the ball? Is that something that could possibly be part of this offense going forward?
I think so. I mean, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. And if the quarterback's able to run and the running back lead blocks, you get an extra hat in the box. And so, I think we'll look at the film and assess. And if that's what it needs to be, that's what it needs to be.
Kyle, just your second loss as a starter in college. What did you learn last year about yourself after the loss to Michigan, and how will you use that to help you move forward from tonight's result?
Yeah, I mean, losing isn't fun, and everywhere I've went from, middle school football to high school to college, I've, won at all three levels, and, this sucks. I mean, it's the only way I can put it. But, going through what I went through last year, obviously, that was probably the biggest college football game last year, in my opinion. And, to lose that teaches you a lot about yourself, teaches you a lot about resiliency and, everything I went through in the offseason and ended up here. So I think that we have to use this as motivation. The season, everything we want in terms of long-term goals is still in front of us, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't keep attacking every single day. Because, I'd much rather be sitting at 3-0 instead of 2-1. But, if this loss, if we use this loss and let it motivate us and, really be hard on the film and get better, then, I think that it's a lesson.
Coach Fran told us that you've moved back into that nickel spot as Justin's moved up to the linebacker role. When did that come about, and when did you know that you were switching back into safety?
It was talked about during the week, but it wasn't for sure. Just focusing on both. Being able to be available for whatever the team needs. Just honestly, just focusing on the scheme, and like I said, just do whatever the team needs.
Is that just based on your guys' personnel or what Stanford was showing you guys?
I would say personnel and mixture of both.
Go back here in the third round.
Devin, what did you see on your interception, and did Elijah kind of jumping the pass in the previous play give you a tell that, hey, Daniels is going
to... Vision on the quarterback, I would say, eyes on the quarterback, knowing what, film, watching film all week, film preparation, and just knowing my job, eyes on the quarterback, and just going to get going to play the ball, being a ball player, but just making plays on the defense, I would say.
Devin, can you just give us your view of that 4th and 9 play that Stanford converted there on what ended up being their winning drive?
We know 13 is one heck of a player. We know that on 4th and 9 for the game that they're going to go to him. And it's just a player made. Clarence Lewis is a great cornerback. He's a great cornerback. So that one play does not define him. So when you have a good player and a good player going against each other, it's just 50-50, you know what I mean? I obviously always have Clarence Lewis against anybody, but it just happened, unfortunately, to go the other way. But he's a good player, so that's all.
All right, a little bit there from Devin Grant following Kyle McCord. We'll try to get you some more from the players if you join us on QSportsTalk.com in the upcoming break. Our final break here on the radio as well. Phone lines available, 315-437-7644. If you have thoughts on Fran Brown, Kyle McCord, who looks to be just seething sitting there on the podium right now. Not used to losing. 11-1 as a starter last year, 2-1 this year. High school, not so much with the losses when him and Marvin Harrison were playing together. But, there we are. A rough one tonight. Kyle McCord putting a lot on his shoulders. Called the one interception dumb. Said they kind of got outplayed today, made a lot of mistakes, and hard to argue with how he broke down the game there. He's laying it bare, as is his head coach, Fran Brown. With that, we'll take our final break. Phone lines open. Final calls, final thoughts after this. Get to Q Sports Talk for more from the Arch players here during this break. 315-437-7644. Back next, QSportsTalk.com and ESPN Radio. All right, let's pop the players back up on Q Sports Talk. Let's see what they're up to. Let's see what they're doing. That was Devin Grant. Are they still up there? Are they still talking? Let's pop them up there in the break, Paul. Paul's going to go put the players up there in the break here. Let's see who we got.
Given the moment, I think, like you said, when they're trying to double OG and take him away, it opens up other guys to make plays.
Last one for the podium, guys, Mario.
Sorry, I thought I had to focus the camera. I apologize. Do you feel Stanford was wearing you down at times, Devin? And if so, why?
I just feel like they are physical to us. We didn't come to play how we are as a defense. We're way more physical than we came out today, and that just showed, as you can see. But like I said previously, we just need to go to the doctor and see where we need to pick up the mistakes that we had, because that's not the defense at all that we showed today. We have a lot more in the tank, and it's just they outplayed us. They're a good team, physical and disciplined team, and they just came out here and out-physicaled us today. So we just go back and see the mistakes. We definitely could be better in a lot of areas.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Devin. A few more guys coming out for the podium.
Thank you.
There go Kyle McCord and Devin Grant. Kyle popped the emotions right in the sleeve, right, guys? I think we like that. Get a couple of calls in after the break and put the wraps on this puppy tonight. Thanks for staying up a late night, people. This is like just a little test run for the UNLV game in a couple of weeks when it would be like the third quarter. Yeah, that's a little disconcerting, Orange Johanna. Yeah. Oh, it's past all of our bedtimes. Thank you all for staying up. The UNLV postgame, it's just going to be me like this. I'm going to just be sleeping. Oh man, I was gonna go mood lighting with the Labatt sign today. I forgot about it. Maybe UNLV postgame. Yeah, we'll see if it focuses. Yeah, the question is that does this focus them up? Was this an exposure of flaws in roster and coaching? Yeah, I'm going to have like those stick-on eyeballs I'm actually recording the UNLV postgame show tomorrow. We're just going to knock it out right now. Yeah, probably. 9 o'clock kick. We may step on the accelerator with that one. We'll have to see. The road games, we don't get Fran like live with his pressure necessarily, so we'll have to see what we're doing. 9 o'clock, Devin. 6 o'clock Pacific. Get a little warm in there, Zach? I mean, I know they were getting crushed, but they called the same, like the holding calls they called on Syracuse, they called the same things on Stanford. So I think there was a crap ton of penalties, but I don't know if it really decided the game. I don't think they were great, but I don't think it was like, oh, this is terrible. They were just calling it tight. And both teams were holding a lot. That was a whole, I mean, Arande grabbed the guy. Like, if Arande hadn't held that guy, he was going to kill McCord. The roughing the passer is the one where I was like, well, that one was soft. The roughing the passer one was like, what is that? Like, it looked like Jovity barely grazed him. That one bothers me more than any of the holdings. Like, Gadsden held the guy on the Hatcher one, unfortunately. Like, your tight end, your offensive line was struggling. Now your sort of tight end got stuck blocking one of their edge rushers.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, you hear the number, 315-437-7644. Last segment, time for our last few on the phone. Brian gets with you, and we'll get our last licks in as well here in a moment. But let's get back to the phone lines. Who do we got? We got Mark in Liverpool hanging with us tonight. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, great show. We all appreciate your level of knowledge for Syracuse hoops. And I'm saying, like, we figured that there was going to be some bumps in the road with Fran Brown, with Kyle McCord. At the end of the day, the defense has to make a play, and we cannot underestimate Billy Potosik from Stanford. The dude had a great game. End of the day, we're going to be fine with Syracuse, but we got to shut down Billy P. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, that you can't leave their best wide receiver open on the last play of the game. Assuming you're talking about Alec Aluminor on the last play of the game. But yeah, you can't just one-on-one them and hope that you're going to get out of that unscathed. And that's what happens. It's one of these things, Fran. I think there's, some game plan stuff, first-year coaching staff stuff that we've maybe avoided through the first 2 weeks of the season that I think people assumed was never going to happen, and it is going to happen when you have a first-year head coach and stuff like that. It's a game that, like I said, Fran Brown lost the game. No, it was a wide variety of things that lost the game today. But yeah, I think this one stinks because this one is one that you realistically should have won the way the game played out today.
Yeah, and it puts a lot of pressure on Kyle McCord when there's no running game. He has to do everything. They're double teaming 19. We got to throw the ball out in the flat. At the end of the day, Potosik killed us on the other side of the ball, though. They're a good team, Stanford. They came in, played, a solid game. It was a good league game, and we'll move on and get ready for Holy Cross next week.
Yep, we will. And thank you, Mark, for the call there, as Syracuse and Holy Cross is the game coming up next week. That is for sure. That is a noon game, nooner next week. That will be back with all of our normal coverage for next week. Time now for improving the team from Wadhams Enterprises as we look ahead to the Holy Cross game next week. And, man, I think, like, as much as it's been great watching Kyle McCord sling it around, and even today in the loss, and the one interception that Kyle himself called dumb, I'm glad he did that. 339 passing yards today, so he's still averaging more than 350 passing yards on the season. And I'm sure he could rip Holy Cross to shreds next week with his arm. As boring as it sounds, I would love to see them come out and actually establish the run next week. I get it's Holy Cross. Get this offensive line going forward. Get them moving some bodies. Get LaQuinn Allen rolling early in the game next week. As much as it might sacrifice the McCord stat day, which we've all enjoyed watching so far, I think you got to do something to get a little confidence in this run game after just a complete nothing run game today. Again, 26 total rushing yards. Remove the sack yardage. It was barely more than 50 yards in the game. And a chunk of that was on a chunk of that was on the McCord touchdown run where he goes Eric Dungying through the air. People are calling that Josh Allen. We're in Syracuse. He Dungy. That wasn't Josh Allen. Come on now. He didn't karate kick the guy, though. That's next level for McCord. So, yeah, I don't know. Got to run the ball a little bit next week. Boring, but come on. It's Holy Cross. It's Holy Cross. That is our improving the team from Wadhams Enterprises. They are improving their team. They have home daily CDLA driving positions available for experienced drivers and also offer CDLA training at no cost with a job waiting upon completion. Call recruiting today at 800-334-1314. 800-334-1314. Maybe not today. It's midnight. Maybe today, later today. I don't know. Don't call right now. I don't think they're doing it right now. It's midnight. Anyway, what do we got coming up here? No game tomorrow or Sunday. Enjoy your weekend. Monday, we'll continue to break this all down. Orange Nation at noon, live during Orange Nation. Fran Brown's Monday press conference at 1. Newhouse afternoon starts Monday at 2, so we'll be welcoming that back to our lineup this week, upcoming on Monday, and I'll be with you at 4. So full reactions to this. A rough loss for the Orange today to Stanford. Man, some plays standing out, but really more than anything, the more we think about it, the Orange just got absolutely dominated. Line of scrimmage, both on offense, both on defense, and nothing bigger difference than that today. So everyone, thanks for staying up late night with us here tonight. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk again on Monday.
Don't miss the Kyle McCord